You're making excuses, justifying her behavior, hoping things will change, convincing yourself it's not that bad. Meanwhile, you're dying inside. Your self-respect is eroding, your confidence is crumbling, your peace is gone, and deep down, you know what you need to do. But you're afraid. Afraid of being alone. Afraid you won't find better. Afraid of starting over. So you stay. And every day you stay, you lose more of yourself. Here's the truth that could save your life. Certain behaviors are non-negotiable deal breakers, not imperfections you should tolerate, not flaws you should work through, red flags screaming that you need to walk away immediately. The ancient Stoics understood that self-respect is the foundation of everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." Staying with a woman who displays certain behaviors is choosing insanity over dignity. Today you're learning the specific behaviors that demand you walk away. Not for revenge, not out of anger, but out of self-respect and love for your own peace. Let's be brutally clear about what requires you to leave. The first non-negotiable behavior is consistent disrespect that continues after you've addressed it. Everyone has bad days. Everyone says things they regret. That's human. But consistent patterns of disrespect, belittling you in front of others, dismissing your feelings, mocking your concerns, treating you as less than, these destroy relationships and your soul. The key word is consistent. Once is a mistake. Twice is a pattern forming. 3 times is her showing you who she is. Believe her. Even more critical, disrespect that continues after you've clearly communicated it's unacceptable is her telling you she doesn't respect you enough to change. She's showing you that her desire to disrespect you is stronger than her desire to keep you. When someone shows you they don't respect you, believe them the first time. Don't wait for the 10th time. Epictetus taught that we teach people how to treat us. Every time you accept disrespect, you're teaching her that disrespect is acceptable. Every boundary you fail to enforce becomes permission for more violations. The man with self-respect addresses disrespect once clearly. That behavior is unacceptable. It won't be tolerated. If it happens again, he walks. No threats, no warnings, no second chances after the clear boundary was set. Because a person who truly values you will course-correct immediately when told their behavior is hurting you. A person who doesn't value you will continue the behavior and make you feel crazy for having boundaries. Which one is she? The second behavior that demands walking away is habitual lying or deception about important matters. Small lies about trivial things might be annoying, but systematic deception about important matters, where she is, who she's with, what she's doing, her past, her intentions, this destroys trust completely. Trust is the foundation of relationships. Without it, you're building on sand. Every interaction becomes investigation. Every statement requires verification. You become a detective in your own relationship. This is no way to live. Seneca wrote about the importance of truth as the foundation of character. A person who lies habitually lacks the character necessary for genuine partnership. Here's the hard part. One major lie is often enough to walk away. Not because people don't make mistakes, but because major deception reveals fundamental character flaws that don't change easily. She lied about her past relationship status. She deceived you about her finances. She was dishonest about her whereabouts. These aren't mistakes. These are choices that reveal who she is. The man with self-respect doesn't stick around hoping a liar will suddenly become honest. He recognizes that trust, once broken in fundamental ways, is nearly impossible to rebuild. He walks away before investing more in someone who's proven untrustworthy. Can people change? Theoretically, yes. Should you wait around to find out? Absolutely not. Your time and peace are too valuable. The third behavior requiring immediate exit is any form of physical aggression or violence. This should be obvious, but somehow many men tolerate physical aggression from women that they'd never accept from men. Hitting, slapping, throwing objects, destroying your property, physical intimidation. None of this is acceptable, ever, under any circumstances, regardless of how angry she is, regardless of what you did. Physical aggression is never justified and always escalates. The first time she gets physical, you walk. Not the second time, not after she apologizes, the first time, because violence in relationships always escalates. Always. Marcus Aurelius understood that tolerating small evils allows larger evils to take root. The slap becomes a punch, the thrown object becomes a weapon, the pattern escalates until someone gets seriously hurt. Many men are embarrassed to admit they're in physically abusive relationships. Society pretends domestic violence only goes one direction. This shame keeps men trapped in dangerous situations. Break the shame. Acknowledge the reality. Walk away immediately. Your physical safety and psychological well-being are non-negotiable. The fourth red flag is emotional manipulation and guilt-tripping as primary communication tools. Healthy relationships involve direct communication. Unhealthy relationships involve manipulation. She uses guilt, shame, tears, and emotional blackmail to control your behavior and decisions. If you loved me, you'd, after everything I've done for you, you're making me feel, I guess I'm just not good enough. These manipulation tactics are designed to make you feel responsible for her emotions and compliant with her demands. Over time, you lose your sense of self because you're constantly managing her feelings. This is emotional abuse. It's subtle. It doesn't leave visible marks, but it destroys your psychological health just as surely as physical abuse destroys your body. The Stoics taught that each person is responsible for their own emotional state. You are not responsible for managing her emotions. You are not required to sacrifice your needs to maintain her comfort. When manipulation is her primary communication tool, you're not in a partnership. You're in a hostage situation. Walk away. The fifth behavior that demands exit is consistent financial irresponsibility or exploitation. Money problems destroy relationships, but it's not financial struggles that should make you leave. It's the behavior around money that reveals character. She consistently overspends while expecting you to cover shortfalls. She refuses to work while demanding you provide lifestyle she hasn't earned. She accumulates debt recklessly while showing no concern for consequences. She sees your resources as hers, but her resources as only hers. This is financial exploitation, and it will bleed you dry emotionally and economically. Seneca understood that a person's relationship with money reveals their character. Someone who's reckless with finances is reckless with other people's well-being. The man with self-respect doesn't allow himself to be exploited financially. He doesn't enable irresponsibility by constantly bailing her out. He doesn't accept relationships where financial burden is one-directional. If she's financially irresponsible, despite your attempts to address it, or if she's actively exploiting your resources while contributing nothing, you walk away before you're financially destroyed. The sixth non-negotiable is maintaining inappropriate relationships with ex-partners or potential romantic interests. Staying friendly with exes can be acceptable. Maintaining active, emotionally intimate relationships with people you used to sleep with or people who want to sleep with you is not acceptable. If she's constantly texting her ex, if she maintains friendships with men who are clearly interested romantically, if she refuses to set appropriate boundaries with people from her past, if she hides these communications from you, these are massive red flags. This behavior shows she's keeping options open. She's maintaining backup plans. She's not fully committed to your relationship, and she's either oblivious to appropriate boundaries or deliberately crossing them. Either way, you deserve better. Marcus Aurelius valued loyalty above almost all other virtues. A person who cannot be loyal in boundaries with others cannot be truly loyal to you. Address this once clearly. These relationships cross boundaries that are unacceptable to me. If nothing changes, walk away. Don't negotiate boundaries that should be obvious. The seventh behavior is consistent refusal to take accountability for her actions. Everyone makes mistakes, but healthy people admit mistakes, apologize genuinely, and change behavior. Toxic people deny, deflect, blame shift, and never take responsibility. Everything is always someone else's fault. When she hurts you, somehow you caused it. When she makes mistakes, she has excuses. When problems arise, she's the victim. She never genuinely apologizes because she never believes she's genuinely wrong. This inability to take accountability means problems never get resolved, patterns never change, growth never happens. You're stuck in an endless loop of the same issues because she can't acknowledge her role in creating them. Epictetus taught that wisdom begins with acknowledging what we don't know and what we've done wrong. A person incapable of this acknowledgement is incapable of growth. The man with self-respect doesn't stay with someone who refuses to take accountability. He recognizes that without accountability, real partnership is impossible. He walks away from the endless, exhausting cycle. The 8th red flag is substance abuse that she refuses to address. Addiction destroys individuals and relationships. If she has substance problems, alcohol, drugs, prescription medications, and refuses to acknowledge them or seek help, you cannot save her by staying. Many men think their love will inspire her to change. It won't. Addiction doesn't work that way. She'll only change when she decides to change, and staying with her while she's actively using just enables the addiction. Your presence becomes part of the disease. You become the safety net that allows her to continue destructive behavior without facing full consequences. This is heartbreaking. But staying doesn't help her. It helps the addiction by preventing her from hitting bottom, and it destroys you in the process. The Stoics understood that we cannot control others' choices. You cannot force her into recovery. You can only control whether you stay and enable or leave and preserve yourself. If she refuses help or consistently relapses without genuine commitment to recovery, you walk away. Not because you don't care, because staying is harmful to both of you. The 9th behavior that requires leaving is active attempts to isolate you from friends and family. Healthy partners want you to have strong external relationships. Toxic partners want you dependent only on them. They create conflict with your friends. They complain about your family. They make it difficult or uncomfortable to maintain other relationships. This isolation is a control tactic. When you're isolated, you have no outside perspective, no reality check, no support system. You become easier to manipulate and control because you have nowhere else to turn. If she consistently creates problems with your other relationships, forces you to choose between her and others, or makes your life miserable when you spend time with anyone else, you're in an abusive relationship. Marcus Aurelius maintained strong connections with friends and advisors throughout his life. He understood that healthy individuals maintain healthy connections with others. Only toxic people try to isolate their partners. The man with self-respect doesn't allow anyone to cut him off from his support system. He recognizes isolation tactics for what they are. He walks away before he's completely cut off from everyone else. The 10th non-negotiable is consistently choosing her wants over your clearly stated needs. Relationships require compromise, but they also require both partners considering each other's needs. When she consistently prioritizes her wants while dismissing your clearly stated needs, you're not in a partnership. You've clearly communicated that certain things matter to you. She acknowledges hearing you. Then she consistently chooses her preferences while expecting you to sacrifice yours. This isn't about getting your way all the time. It's about whether she considers your needs as important as hers. When the answer is consistently no, you have your answer about how much you matter to her. Seneca wrote about reciprocity as the foundation of healthy relationships. When reciprocity doesn't exist, you're being used, not loved. The man with self-respect doesn't stay where he's consistently devalued. He doesn't keep giving to someone who only takes. He walks away from one-sided relationships, regardless of history or investment. The 11th behavior is chronic unfaithfulness or inability to maintain monogamy. If you've agreed to monogamy and she cheats, that's typically enough to walk away immediately. But some men try to work through infidelity. That's a personal choice. What's not acceptable is chronic patterns of infidelity, multiple affairs, repeated betrayals, inability to remain faithful despite promises and therapy. This shows she cannot or will not be monogamous. Whether it's addiction, character flaw, or incompatibility, the why doesn't matter as much as the pattern. You cannot change her. Therapy might help. Consequences might motivate. But ultimately, she has to choose fidelity. If she consistently chooses otherwise, your only choice is whether to accept permanent infidelity or walk away. Marcus Aurelius valued integrity above all else. Living with chronic betrayal destroys your integrity and self-respect. The man with self-respect doesn't sign up for permanent infidelity. One betrayal might be forgivable with real remorse and change. Patterns are not. Walk away. The 12th and final behavior is fundamental incompatibility on core values that won't change. This isn't about red flags. It's about recognizing when two people want fundamentally different things that cannot be compromised. She wants children. You don't. She wants religious lifestyle. You don't. She wants to live in different location permanently. You're rooted where you are. She has political or ethical views you find incompatible with yours. These aren't problems to fix. They're fundamental incompatibilities that will create permanent friction and resentment. Many men think love conquers all. It doesn't. Love without compatibility creates beautiful misery. You love each other but want incompatible lives. This ends badly regardless of how long you delay the inevitable. Epictetus taught about accepting reality as it is. If you want fundamentally different things, and neither will compromise their core needs, the reality is incompatibility. Accepting this early saves years of trying to force incompatible pieces together. The man with self-respect doesn't stay hoping the other person will change their fundamental nature or values. He recognizes incompatibility and walks away with respect for both people before resentment sets in. Here's what walking away actually looks like. You don't do it in anger. You don't do it for revenge. You don't do it dramatically. You do it calmly, clearly, and finally, you state your decision clearly. This relationship isn't working for me. I'm choosing to leave. You don't justify endlessly. You don't argue. You don't try to convince her it's the right decision. You make the decision for yourself based on your own standards and needs. Her agreement is not required. You execute the separation cleanly. No staying friends immediately. No keeping doors open. No checking in to see if she's okay. Clean break that allows both people to move forward. You grieve the loss. Even when leaving is right, it's still loss. Let yourself feel that without second-guessing the decision. You rebuild. Focus on yourself. Reconnect with friends. Pursue goals. Rediscover who you are outside the relationship. Rebuild the self-respect that was eroded. Marcus Aurelius understood that difficult decisions require courage, but not cruelty. Walk away with dignity, but walk away definitively. Here's what you need to internalize. Leaving is not failure. Staying in situations that destroy you is failure. You haven't failed if you tried and it didn't work. You've failed if you stay when you know you should leave. You've failed if you sacrifice your self-respect to avoid being alone. The Stoics taught that wisdom involves knowing when to continue and when to stop. Continuing bad relationships isn't persistence, it's cowardice disguised as loyalty. If your woman displays these behaviors consistently, despite your clearly communicated boundaries, walking away isn't just an option, it's the only choice that respects yourself. You deserve respect, honesty, loyalty, reciprocity, safety, compatibility. If you're not getting these basics, you're not in a relationship. You're in a hostage situation, and you're the one holding the key to your own freedom. If you're ready to choose yourself over situations that destroy you, to walk away with dignity from what doesn't serve you, comment below. I choose self-respect. Remember, the strongest men aren't those who never leave. They're those who have the courage to walk away from what's killing them, even when it's hard. Be that man. Your peace is worth more than any relationship that costs you your self-respect.